It's no secret that player numbers for Halo Infinite have been down. Obviously, these Steam numbers are very transparent, but even on the Xbox side of things, we've seen Halo Infinite fall out of the top 5 most played games on the Xbox most played list. This has been something that has been covered all over YouTube and even covered by mainstream websites like Forbes. However, today's video isn't another doom and gloom video. This past weekend was HCS Anaheim, and the viewer numbers from HCS Anaheim are actually pretty positive. Let's talk about the event, talk about the numbers, talk about what they could mean for Halo Infinite, and let's get right into it. But before we do, let me talk about today's video sponsor, and that is again Advanced GG. Like we've talked about in the past, Advanced GG is my go-to drink when I need a little pick-me-up when making videos or just playing Halo Infinite late at night. It helps me have some energy without having that crash later on that you might get from something like an energy drink. It's also really nice because it's sugar-free and it has no filler, so it's a bit healthier than drinking something like a Coke or anything like that. Another nice thing about Advanced products is they are all open label and they don't hide behind any proprietary blends, so you know exactly what you're putting in your body, and that's definitely something I can get behind. If you guys want to check out Advanced GG, just like before, use code RS or 3Rs over on their website. Check it out, get 10% off, and hopefully enjoy it. With that said, let's get back to the video. So like I said, this past weekend was HCS Anaheim, which is the second LAN for Halo Infinite, with the last one being HCS Raleigh back in December, which was the event that I actually attended. Now, I was really skeptical how HCS Anaheim was going to perform in terms of viewer-based numbers, because not only was the tournament cut down due to COVID, became an online-only event and didn't have the open bracket portion, the game also just hasn't been doing too well, so I thought there was a good chance that this event might completely flop, but I was pleasantly surprised to see the numbers that we had this weekend, and it shows that even if right now players aren't necessarily launching up Halo Infinite, they still care about the game and want to watch the event, and I think that bodes well for the future of Halo Infinite. As we start to get more content and more fixes, people still seem to be interested in the game and hopefully will hop back in. So like I said, we are going to talk about numbers. So similar to HCS Raleigh, HCS Anaheim also had Twitch drops that you could get by watching the streams, so that's definitely something that is important to note. However, that is a common practice amongst many major games currently. Lots of games do it for their big esport events, and sometimes games just do it in general to try and boost up numbers and interaction within the Twitch community. So it's nothing out of the ordinary, though obviously it is something you need to mention when you talk about increased viewer numbers. Now, back in December for HCS Anaheim, Halo Infinite was actually able to hit 265,000 peak viewers, which was absolutely crazy for Halo, as we haven't hit those numbers in many years. Now, since then, nothing has gotten anywhere near that, and the day-to-day viewership of Halo Infinite has actually gotten pretty bad. However, like I said, with HCS Anaheim, I wasn't necessarily sure how it was going to perform, but it exceeded my expectations, with both day 1 and day 2 getting over 80,000 viewers, and then Championship Sunday squeaking its way over 100,000 viewers. Like I mentioned earlier, Twitch drops obviously play a part here, but I think it's pretty promising to see, even in the dwindling of the player base, and we'll talk a little bit about that at the end, the game is still able to pull in 6 figures for Championship Sunday for the major esports events. I think that's definitely very promising, and hopefully it's a trend we can continue going into HCS Kansas City, which could even pull more numbers, because unlike Anaheim, HCS Kansas City is a major and HCS Anaheim was a regional, so it was just the NA based teams, whereas HCS Kansas City is going to include the European teams, the Latin American teams, the Australian teams, and you might see some more viewership from those regions to support their team. Obviously that is just speculation, we'll have to wait and see as HCS Kansas City comes around, but now after seeing how this event did, I think it's a lot more possible that HCS Kansas City and the HCS events in general could continue to pull decent numbers, especially supported by those Twitch drops. However, I think there's no negatives in that, because getting people to watch the game, even if some of them don't care about the esport or things like that, it means they're at least still engaged in Halo. Maybe they become a fan of Halo esports, maybe they don't, but at least they care enough to get the drops that they're going to use in the game. Now, depending on when you looked during the tournament, the highest I saw Halo Infinite hit in the Twitch category was the 4th most watched game at the time, which is pretty dang good for Halo Infinite, because over the past month it averages almost the 50th ranked spot on Twitch. So having an event boosted all the way up to the 4th spot is pretty dang crazy, all things considered. Now, do I think HCS Anaheim is going to save the game or revive it in any sort of meaningful way? Unfortunately not. That's still going to lie on 343 fixing the game and getting more content into the game, but I think what HCS Anaheim does show, like I mentioned, is that people still care about the game. Even if they're not actively playing it every day, maybe they've gotten bored, maybe they finished the battle pass. As more content gets into the game, as more of those bug fixes are put into the game, and just improvements to the game in general, there is a good chance that some of these people watching the tournament but not playing every day might hop back into the game and play more on a regular basis. Another really important thing to keep in mind when talking about the numbers from HCS Anaheim is obviously on Championship Sunday, it wasn't just any Sunday. It was obviously Super Bowl Sunday also. So while the viewer base of the NFL and the viewer base of a Halo tournament might not exactly overlap 1-to-1, there's clearly going to be some overlap there. So I think Halo hitting 100K at the same time that the Super Bowl was going on is still pretty dang impressive, especially for a game like Halo that for many years struggled to pull in numbers, even if you look back at all the HCS events back in Halo 5. Another thing that I want to note about HCS Anaheim compared to HCS Raleigh is just how much better and more smooth this event ran to the previous one. Now obviously they were playing on Xboxes this time from the very start instead of trying to play on PCs, but there appeared to be a lot less crashes and the tournament just ran a lot smoother in general. So I think that's also a pretty good sign for at least the future of the HCS events, if they can start to be a little bit smoother and a little bit of a better viewing experience. Obviously there were still some crashes here and there, but it wasn't nearly as bad as the crash fest that we saw during HCS Raleigh back in December. Now I did say we would talk a little bit about player base numbers, so we'll kind of mention these at the end. During the event, the player base on Twitch definitely didn't see a boost, and you could even see on Saturday and Sunday it took a little bit of a hit, though that is kind of forgiven. If more people are watching the tournament, they probably aren't going to be playing the game at the same time, so I don't think those little drops here over the weekend really mean a whole lot. We'll kind of have to wait and see the player base trends over the next week or so, but I don't really anticipate any huge upticks in player base, probably until at least the February update that is going to fix more things in the game. I just wanted to talk about this a little bit. I think it's pretty promising. I thought it was pretty cool to see all the people turn up and watch the event. I really enjoy watching the Halo events. I think they're a lot of fun. Watching Cloud9 win again was a pretty good time, although I won't lie, I probably was cheering for Optic there in the finals. Anyways guys, that is going to do it for the video. Let me know in the comments below if you think this event's viewership correlates at all to the overall health of the game, or if you think it's just completely unrelated, or just any other thoughts that you might have. Other than that, follow me over on Twitch, Twitter, Instagram, all the good places, and I'll see you all next time.